We are indeed live. Hi guys, Nicola here from Conscious
Hi.
Crypto Trading. Reese is here as well. And we're looking at the Bitcoin trading tutorial as well as technical analysis for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, following along our weekend live streams on what was it, Teresa? Saturday we had the monthly candle close, which was really important. We had the weekly candle close yesterday. So it is not, we're not going to go over that today. So make sure you go back and you have a look at the weekend because we've set up the trade for the coming weeks and months. And we're not going to do that today. So you want to watch those other videos, our last two live streams on the monthly close and the weekly close to get set up for the next week and the months. Today, we're just looking at TA for today. So as a tutorial, we thought we would give the Bitcoin Trader tutorial and give you how we set up our charts and then go into the technical analysis using our tutorial as a way of beginning to put all the pieces together for you and looking at trades, potential trades for today. So what's the first thing you do, Teresa, when you do a chart? Do you do trend lines or do you do your Fibonacci?
I do trend lines first. But I always look at a clean chart. So I might be, if I'm trading Bybit, I ultimately want to have my lines on Bybit, but I'll go over to Coinbase or Phoenix or one of the ones that I'm not doing my main charting on so that I'm looking at the patterns fresh.
Yep. Okay, cool. So the first thing I always do is the trading diagonal as the support to find out what is the line that we have not dipped below, right? So that's the very first thing that I do with my trend line. I'm on the daily. I like to zoom out to get a better idea. And for those of you who've been following us and following other YouTubers, you know that they've been drawing their trend lines something like that. Was that right? Have I got it quite right? No, it's more like that, right? Where we've been having this triangle that we have indeed broken out of. So that is one way. But what Teresa's been saying over the last couple of weeks is every time we get a new week of candles, it seems that we are in a bigger pattern. And if we were to move the trend line up here, this looks like we could either be in a sideways wedge, or Teresa, that actually could even be an ascending triangle, right?
Yeah, could be. And that's been consistent with what's been happening the last 3 months all along. We wherever we turn around, there's a bigger pattern forming. So
yeah. So we've been following a smaller pattern. First of all, it was a bear flag, right? And the idea of when you're drawing your trend lines is you want as many candles to touch as possible. So at first we were looking at a bear flag. So then we went, oh, we're going to go down because a bear flag breaks down more often than it breaks up. If that didn't happen, we created a bigger pattern, which was the descending triangle, right? And now we've got another week's worth of trading candles, and we've got an even bigger pattern. That's the pattern we've been looking at, right? So now we've got an even bigger pattern forming, which is an ascending triangle. An ascending triangle is a really bullish pattern, and the target would still be the same actually as the descending, and the target is going to take us back up to around 58,000, right? So that's the first thing you want to do. How many candles? About 3 candle touches at least, right? When you're drawing your when you're drawing your trend lines, as many candles touching as possible.
3 minimum to consider it a trade. Although I often start paying attention to lines when there's only 2 because they often represent turnaround points, especially when the lines coincide with where the Fibonacci levels are.
Yeah, yeah. Which is the next thing. This is how my charts become pickup sticks. I'm going to put this in here because we've got a lot of candle touches on this vertical line, and we indeed have a breakout out of that, but we've got rejected. So the next thing you do is you want to bring in your Fibonacci tool, left-hand side top here, click that, come down to Fibonacci retracement. For me personally, I start with the swing highs. So there's the market top for this market. And I like to go back to where we started ascending, we started going up in price, because what happens then is that I've got market structure, support, and resistance lines. And if we bring this Fibonacci over, you will see, oops, that should come down slightly more. You will see that that Fibonacci golden ratio, which is a significant support and resistance line in the Fibonacci retracement tool, you will see that it aligns perfectly with the tops that we've been hitting. We just went slightly above it. So we are at significant resistance, right? Then what do we come in? We come in with the RSI.
Yeah.
So then
the other thing though that's worth noticing right now in terms of the major trend lines is on some exchanges, depending on how you draw it, if you go from the all-time high to the right shoulder of the massive head and shoulders that's at the top of the pattern, down to the high we just created, there is a trend line forming there.
Okay, so can you say that again?
So go from the all-time high.
Yeah.
Down to the right shoulder, down to the high we just created.
This one here.
Yeah.
To there.
Yeah, there's a trend line there.
Gotcha.
We've got 3 touch points. So we could now be forming a massive triangle in the market.
Right. Right. Yeah. You've got all of that white space, but this is a trend line that's been respected. So what Teresa has done is put in a Fibonacci in the big move to have a look at what the lines are in the big move, which can help us with our support and resistance lines as we start going up into higher prices. The other way that you can do Fibonacci is just have a look at the movement that we are in right now, which is what I'm going to do here. And then we can have a look at where we're at. And I will take it to the high and down to the low, just on this move, right? Just where we bottomed out there. And then see if there is any confluence. And we've got confluence with this Fibonacci line here around this being a significant resistance. So if we want to go up into those higher price ranges, we really need to get up beyond 43,000. And let's have a look at if we're going to do that. The other thing you want to have a look at is we've got a W forming as well. So we've got our patterns in here. A W is a trend reversal pattern. And we've got, there it is there. We've slightly faked out of the support line. And then, oopsie, that gives us a target of around, let's do that. It's around 54,000, maybe 54,400. It's possible that we're going to hit this the Fibonacci golden ratio level of the actual movement itself at 51 and come back down. But that's that's what we call the structure of the movement at the moment. Now, in this tutorial, we want to go over 2 things that are really important on your charts to have, and that is the RSI down here at the bottom, as well as the volume. Teresa, do you want to just point out where we need to, where we pick those up from? Like, first of all, the volume. Where do we get the volume from?
I'm not sure what you're asking me right now. Do you mean what's the indicator called?
The volume. Yeah, when we've got you put the volume in. Mm-hmm. You know, there's volume candles here.
Yes.
How do they get that in their charts?
It's just called volume. Yes. VOL. So if you look at it under your indicators on TradingView, it's just called volume. And
I think it's under, isn't it under built-ins?
Let me just see.
Built-ins volume. There it is there. Yep. Volume oscillator.
Volumes. Yep. And I've got it in my favorites, so I can just pull it up easily if I need it.
Yeah, so then you've got the volume oscillator, and then that tells
RSI
you
is just called.
trading.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, there was a bit of a delay on the line. I didn't mean to overspeak you. RSI is just called Relative Strength Index if you're looking for it in your favorites, and I believe that one's also under built-ins. Let me just check here. Yes, so also can be found in built-ins. So that's one of the automatic indicators that TradingView gives you. That TradingView has set.
And that means that if you're on the free version, that you can use that. The relative strength index is showing us specifically if we're getting overbought or oversold, and we can look to those to indicate price action. So now let's have a look at price action. And we will use these tools that we have just put in to help us figure out where we're going. Plus, we're going to add a few more tools here. On the 4 hour, again, drawing your trend lines, there's a nice trend line from here. Oopsie, wrong place. From here to there, which we may have broken down from. So while it's looking bullish, if that is an ascending channel, we've got an M here. Boom. A lot of the M's in this market have not come into fruition, but we have gone up to retest support as resistance. We've got rejected off, and now we're coming back up. So the big test is, at the moment, we've got a little bit of a slow bull run on. Are we going to keep going up to retest this and come back down and then invalidate both this rising channel, which breaks to the downside more often than it breaks to the up, as well as the M? And that's really what we're looking at. So Teresa and I really like to work with the Ichimoku cloud, because the Ichimoku cloud is a combination of a number of indicators together to show whether or not we're in resistance or flow. And when we're above green, we've got flow, and you just need to watch out for where we straighten out on Ichimoku, because sometimes that can mean that we're going to go down a bit. But this is looking okay, yeah? RSI down the bottom here is in the middle, so we still could go either way.
Yeah, bullish Ichimoku cloud right now.
Yeah. And yeah, we've got the conversion line above the baseline, so that's bullish. So now when you're setting up your trade, you've got your overall structure. You're going to go down into your 1 hour to get a zoom in, and we have some bullish flipping over to potentially bearish, and that could just mean a small decrease, because look at this, the baseline is now above the conversion line, but at the moment what it does look like is we are going up back into the pattern. This is what you want to watch for. Draw the lines here. We've got lower lows and lower highs, which means even though we're going up right now, we want to watch for, are we going to go up to 39,978 and then reverse back down and come all the way back down? This is a descending channel that breaks to the upside more often than not, but we don't know how far down is it going to go before we break up. Or are we going to get up here and just break out, or come down to the middle and just break out? But we are getting, this is actually a narrowing wedge. We could even do it like that, right? If we just ignore the candles, because they've got more candles touching if we do it that way, which breaks to the upside, and the target would be 40,452. So in the next hour, we want to see, are we going to get another red candle coming down, which means we could get dragged down to a lower low, 38,998, maybe bounce off of that, come down here a bit before we come back up, or we could just keep going up back into the pattern. So that's what you want to watch out for. So right now, would you trade this, either short this or get ready for a long on this one, Teresa?
Personally, no. There's too many counter indicators right now, because we have both small bearish divergences and bullish divergences on the RSI. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is a pattern. I'm waiting, and I think one of the most profitable traits of a trader is knowing when to wait. I'm waiting for a clear indication which way the market's going right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We could be filling out that wedge forming down, which means we might be going to significantly lower levels before we turn around and go back up again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go to significantly lower levels, but we definitely could. So what Therese is talking about is we've got a higher, slightly higher high on the RSI at the moment, and we've got a lower low, which means we're diverting. We're not following the pattern on the RSI. So that could mean that we are going to come back down and either touch this line and reverse back up, or come halfway and reverse back up. We just have to wait and see. But you were also talking about the bullish divergence, which is basically we've got a higher high, right? Like it's almost like we've got this triangle, this narrowing wedge here on the RSI, which is weird.
Yeah. So the wedge on the RSI is going the opposite direction of the wedge in the market,
Yeah.
and sometimes those little divergences just mean we're going to get a very short-term correction. So like we might go short-term bearish and then go bullish, or vice versa. So it's, some of that you just have to wait and see what plays out. There's not always an immediate trade unless you're scalping, which is very different strategies to what we're doing.
Exactly. So it's not, there's not enough volume, in the market for me to short this, and there's not enough. It's not enough of a drop, because in a lot of the shorts that have happened, for example, this M we broke down, but we never fulfilled it. And there's so many shorts we never fulfilled. And what could be happening is that this could also be a W. So very often, guys, very often we get contradictory patterns. We get a bullish pattern and we get a bearish pattern. And that's why the Ichimoku cloud is really useful to follow, because it gives us early indications of a little movement reversal. And the other thing that I like to use is the 4 EMA, which is showing the short was here. Take the short top here. You got the crossover, so you've got red, yellow, green, blue, and that is that's an indication to short once you get the crossover up here, not in the middle of the movement. And then if we go over to the 4 hour, which is way more reliable for trading, you can see that the red line is way down here, which is possibly an indication that if we do go down, it isn't going to go down too lower. In fact, this candle got rejected off of that EMA. But what we've got here is we've got a cross. And for a long, we need it to go blue, green, yellow, red. And for a short, we need it to go in reverse. Red, yellow, green, blue. So we've got blue crossed over, and now yellow's getting ready to cross over, but there's such a big gap for the red to get on the top on the 4 hourly. So that's why we look at the smaller time frames and we look at the larger time frames together to say, you know what, this might just be a short-term correction. We could go as low as 36,384, because that is the beginning of this rising channel that we've broken out of. And when you do when you break down to the downside out of a rising channel, then it usually goes to where the candle touches right here. However, as a short, we're getting a reversal in the market. So this is a waiting game, right?
Yeah, and it's been 3 months of busted patterns and U-turns.
Yeah.
So I think it's not inappropriate to to use a double negative. It's appropriate to wait and see till there's really clear indicators. So in general, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. I think we're going to see really positive price action coming up pretty in the near term. But this isn't looking like the best entry point for me. We may be going lower before we go higher. So I'm waiting to see
a better entry point. So if we break up out of this descending line here to the upside, there are going to be two targets. The first one is this W, and that W is going to take us to 40,943. And then there is also hang on a second, that's the wrong place. This triangle itself here, which interestingly enough takes us to a similar target around 40,929. Now on my chart that's already drawn in, which is extremely noisy and messy, I want to show you that we've got a bigger W that we're breaking out of as well. Oh, no, that's not it. Is that it? Yeah, here it is here. On the 1 hourly, this is a much bigger, no, that's not it. Let's go out on the four hourly. We've got the much bigger W here, boom, 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 with the top at the golden Fibonacci at 41,056. So if we break that, the other line, the other in targets that we're looking at are 42,786, plus we've got the target of the bigger pattern where we've been trading between these two pink lines on that triangle, and that takes us all the way up to 50. Sorry, the W is 53,343, and the triangle over here is 49,528. So you want to put all of those targets down. One last thing on Bitcoin, we have a CME gap at 41,925. If they're going to fill, generally they fill by Wednesday. So that is telling me that while we may see a little bit of further downward action, I think we're getting ready to go up, close that CME gap, and then we would have broken above this pink line here. And I think this is going to happen sometime over the next 3 days. Anything else you want to say on that, Teresa?
No, that looks really solid. I think that's definitely one to watch. That could be a really good entry point.
Yeah. Awesome. Ashton has emailed us about the crypto. That's really great. I will have a look at that afterwards. He's saying, should we scale in at 38,300 and then scale in when it goes down to 36? I wouldn't, because every moment that you are in the red, you're paying fees. So it eats away at your profit. So you're better off waiting for the bounce and getting in at the bounce. Like if we do go down to the Fibonacci level here of 37,893, or anywhere where we come back down and bounce off of, that's a much stronger entry point for a long. If you want to get in now and then scale in, if we go down lower, you're paying for that, and that eats away at the profit, which means you've got to go higher just to make up for the loss that you had, because every 8 hours, remember, you're paying fees. Do you want to say anything to that, Teresa?
Well, it's a really good question, Ashton, because I think overall you've got to decide what's your trading strategy regarding scaling in and scaling out, right? And it's a good idea to have a formula in mind and stick to it religiously, right? And so, and I get why you're asking the question, right? Like, should I get in a higher level just in case it doesn't go down to that level? This is where I prefer to watch the market a little bit more closely to see, are the indicators telling me we're at the bottom or not, right? And like I look for things like, are we getting the RSI cross on the hourly or the 2 hourly or the 4 hourly at the bottom? Are there divergences on the RSI? And if you're uncertain, you might want to open a little trade in order to scale in, but in general, it's better to wait till you're confident we're at the bottom of the correction. I have different rules though around scaling in and scaling out of trades, depending on whether or not there's clearest bullish indicators on the long-term horizon. Like, so once we're well above the EMA ribbon, once we get that miners hash rate recapitulation, then I do a lot more scaling in and scaling out of trades. So, but that's just my personal rules. So I think it's good that you're in this inquiry, because you want to develop a set of rules and trade them the same, because then you're managing your risk more appropriately.
Yeah, exactly. But your entry point, whether you're scaling in or out, your entry point for a long, you want the strongest position. And remember, the profit isn't about getting your lowest entry point. The profit is where your entry point is, where your exit point is, minus the fees you pay because of the time it's taken to get to your target. That's the equation. The equation isn't getting a lower and a lower and a lower entry point by scaling in every time you go down and still you're in the red, right? And you also run the risk of running out of juice in your account to be able to scale in if it goes down even lower. In the beginning, when I first traded, I got wrecked doing that, by the way. So I don't do that anymore. You want to look for a breakout above this line here, approximately 39,912, and then a confirmed breakout. And because this is a diagonal, this breakout is pretty dangerous because it means we could confirm by coming further down, bounce off, and then coming back up again. So I'd be waiting for a very, very strong entry above this line here. And you'll notice that we're flipping between charts. Both Teresa and I will have several Bitcoin charts open with different lines where there might be a bit of controversy, or one might just be a clear bigger picture, and then the other one might be niched down into the nitty gritty of the charts, so that you can start to get a better feel for, generally speaking, where the price action is going. Ethereum, again, looking more bullish than Bitcoin. So Ethereum keeps looking at leading the way, yeah?
Yeah. And on the Bitcoin versus Ethereum chart, Ethereum just broke out of a really nice big channel. So we could see Bitcoin or Ethereum being the leading indicator against Bitcoin in the next weeks. I would fully expect in the next week for Ethereum to perform better than Bitcoin.
Yeah, because what often we see is that Bitcoin looks like it's going down and Ethereum pumps and it goes up, and then Bitcoin goes, hey, wait for me. And then it turns around and it chases it. And what we've already broken out and confirmed the breakout of the bigger W pattern that we've been forming for 2.5 months, right? Came up here, retested the neckline and have broken up above it. So we are in the process of going to these two targets on Ethereum, 2974 and 3257. One of those is the W. That's this one here. This 3257 is the bigger triangle pattern that we have been in for a couple of months. So let's go to the daily so you can see that. See this triangle here? Top to bottom is this line here. So this is looking way, way, way more bullish than Bitcoin, and which might end up pulling Bitcoin up along with it. So if you were looking at doing a trade going into the 1 hour today, we do have a rising channel. If you look at this top yellow line and this bottom yellow line, we're going up in a rising channel, which can break to the downside eventually. But with Ethereum, we could be traveling up in that channel for 3 to 4 weeks, which is what we did at the beginning of the bull run. We just kept going up and then down and up and down within this rising channel without breaking out to the downside for 3.5 weeks, until finally we got the big dump. But this is a potential W pattern inside here. So you would be looking to long this if we come back down to the yellow at around 2477. That's an entry if you're not already in. We could also come back down to test this line here at 2438. So just watch that. Or if we've got so much bullish momentum happening and volume, if we come back down to this red line, which is just the recent higher lows, bounce off of that, you could ride that up there and have an entry point there, which is around 2563, give or take, depending on when price action hits that. And that W is going to take us up to the golden ratio. So we are coming up to testing that resistance. So you might just want to hold off and wait and see for a lower action to get in. You definitely don't want to get into a long or a short now, because we could be going in either direction. So again, that's when we use the 4 EMA. On the 4 hourly, it's still bullish, whereas remember, it was starting to look bearish. We've got blue, green, yellow. Sorry, hang on a second. Blue, green, yellow, red on the 4 hourly. So that means we're still in play for a long. And on the 1 hourly, we've got blue, green, yellow, red. We started to cross over here. It looked like we could go down and it reversed. So we could start seeing that reversal for Bitcoin as well. So waiting on that. The target for that small W is 2835, but it is really likely that this golden ratio at 2741 is going to act as significant resistance, that we might hit it a few times, come back down a little bit and hit it, before breaking up to the upside. And of course, the longer we take to do that, then we've got to be aware that we could also just come back down to the bottom of this pattern and possibly even break down from it. But generally speaking, we had a bullish divergence here, right? And we had a bearish divergence here, and both have played out. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if there's a sequence there, Teresa. Whenever you've got the bearish on top and the bullish on the bottom, I wonder if that's an indication that we're going to get a pow pow. We're going to get a dip, then a pump, which is exactly what we got, right? We got the bearish divergent play out, and then we got the bullish divergence play out.
Yeah, interesting. It's a good inquiry. We'll have to start watching for that. It'd make a great scenario video to go back and look
really
at
good
that.
Scenario video. Yeah, that's awesome. Great, Ashton, you're most welcome. Hey guys, by the way, we would love for you to like the video if you are getting great value out of our video. We are a tutorial channel, and we are teaching you technical analysis, what scenarios affect the price of Bitcoin and the altcoins, and then show you also some really good techniques for mindset and psychology. And what would you say the main mindset keyword is here? For me, it would be patience. What would it be for you right now?
Patience is a good one. Yeah. It's okay to take a deep breath and wait, right? In anything in life, knowing when to wait is one of the critical skills, right? That goes all the way back to the expression, discretion is the better part of valor, right? Nice. Knowing when to come in, knowing when to strike. Is the difference between someone who just makes a little bit of money and someone who makes massive amounts of money. So whenever you get impatient and you've got FOMO, have a good mental affirmation that says, I make a lot of money because I know when to wait.
Yeah, and when to get it. But Kenny Rogers wrote a song about that, right? The gambler. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. And it's the same in crypto trading. You got to know when to walk away, and you got to know when to run, right? So, so we're waiting. If you are already in a long, it's looking good. Right? Hold on to it and watch those indicators, because we are in the process of heading up towards a target, right? We've already got a confirmed breakout of this W and of this descending triangle, and we are in process of reaching the target. And the first significant resistance line is this golden ratio, 27.34. We break that. We're going to 29.74. We break that. We're going to 32.57. And on the way, some more patterns might show up to indicate that we could be going all the way up as well too. So let's just finish off with XRP. Oh, great. Thanks, Jason. Really nice compliments. We do our best to give good analysis as well as tutorials. And by the way, Conscious Crypto event that is coming up in October. Tickets are on sale. The new early bird special price is there. And we've changed our heading. What do you think? We would love you to like if you like the heading, and post a comment. Do you like our new heading, which says become a legendary trader with a legendary life without losing it all in taxes? And the reason we put that last line in was just today was because new legislation is coming down the pipeline in America, which is gruesome on getting after the crypto. And we don't want other countries following after America, because often they do that. And so we're going to be talking over 3 days. We're going to be workshopping and talking about how you can set up offshore structures, how you can move internationally, what setups you need so that you can move things around legitimately and legally, so you're not going to lose all of these big trades. Plus, this is your big profits. This is also the time in the super cycle, October, we think it's going to begin, when millionaires, billionaires, and multimillionaires are going to be made. So put in the comment section, do you want to be a billionaire, a Bitcoin billionaire, or just a Bitcoin millionaire? What's your preference? Would love your comments on that as well. So I'm going to drop the link to go over there to get your ticket. And Ashton, I'm going to get back to you after the live stream. So that is that. Yeah, finishing up with XRP. XRP is still pretty bullish. Let's just take some noise out of here for you. We're slowly traveling up in this big channel, and this is very, very famous for XRP. It loves to trade big channels with highs and then lows. So you can long it up to the top, short it down to the bottom, long it up to the top, short it down to the bottom. So this one move can just give you more, more and more delicious trades. And what we're looking at for XRP is we are dangerously close to potentially coming down and creating a Bart Simpson. Straight up we went. We came into here, looked like a bull flag, but did not break to the upside, kept trading sideways, created this channel sideways. Now we're coiling up. See how it's coiling up? And we're coiling up inside of a descending triangle, which breaks to the downside more often than not. And I'm going to be watching for that breakout, because if I'm in a long, I am in a long rather, I want to take all my profit here, because I think I'm in about 50 or 60% profit, and then come back in when it comes down here, because if we do break down, this could mean that we could continue to go down and go down here and to create that Bart Simpson, bounce off of that and then come back up. So we're watching for the breakout in this triangle, which is going to happen within the next 4 or 5 hours. And so you would wait to come down here to fulfill the Bart Simpson and enter the long when we bounce. If you were going to short it, you wouldn't short it until we break below this support line here and confirm it as resistance. Otherwise, we could come down, bounce off of this, and head back up and do that relatively quickly, or get a candle. So that's it for today. This week, guys, we're going to live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're skipping Tuesday and Thursday. We need a bit of a break to get some work done on getting the Conscious Crypto Traders event up and running. And so we will see you then on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.
Anything else you want to say?
Until next time, just make sure you're trading consciously.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.